Let me greet each and everyone and greet the Church of God in this evening, especially since today it's Friday and we know normally we welcome the Sabbath during this time. I would like to greet the church. For today, we're going to use the book of Judges. I'm going to read chapter 14. I'll take just 4 verses only from that chapter. I'll start to read from verse 1, which reads as follows. And Samson went down to Timnah and saw a woman in Timnah, daughters of the Philistine. And he came up and told his father and said, I have seen a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me to wife. Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all my people, that you goest and take a wife of this uncircumcised Philistine? And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleaseth me well. Inkosi ibusise ukufunda kwezilayo manje kuzobe phakade. Amen. Tonight, I want to focus on this chapter. In our discussion, I will be using this chapter as my point of consideration in whatever that I will say tonight. First of all, this chapter is very clear. Samson, when he was old enough, I think, according to those who deal with the Bible, they will say he was around 20 or 20s at that time, where he approaches his parents. He had a proposal, and the proposal was clear to his parents. He said to them, look, as I was visiting around the Philistine, I saw a woman and I love the woman. Not only that, I want to be in a relationship with that woman, but I want to take that woman as my wife. Parents, they responded to that in a familiar way. They say to him, but look, man, in this house we are Christians. Why you come with someone who comes from the uncircumcised tribe at that time, which was Philistines? But as they were trying to convince him to say, are there no any daughters among my brethren, among my people? There were, maybe if you were to see one around them and take one of the daughters among my people and make a wife, the parents clearly they will be happy about that. But the young man said to them, look, I've made up my mind. This is the girl I want because she pleases me. Now the parents had no choice. The guy made up his mind. Then if you read the chapter, you'll discover that eventually they went down to negotiate with the family of that young woman, and the guy got married to that lady. Now, we need to be honest about a few things here, especially if we were reading this chapter or if we're talking about the life of Samson. Samson was in love. Whoever is in love knows that it seems as if you are in love, it seems as if you are in control of everything. It doesn't matter the feelings. At that time, the woman, if you read the Bible, the woman was beautiful. He was convinced that this is the girl that I want to marry, regardless of what the parents said to him. Now, I want to read the quotation from E.G. Watt before I say a lot of other things on this topic, because we are aware that we've got young people in our churches. As they grow up, most or some of them, they often do not consider what we always taught at church, that if you want to marry, make sure that you look someone who share the similar faith, someone of your religion. But what normally pushes them is feelings, is the fact that they are in love. And Ellen White, in one of her books, she says something very important, and of which I think I would like to read for everyone who might be listening tonight. The book is Letters to Young Lovers. She says, the unbelieving may possess an excellent moral character, but the fact that he or she has not answered to the claims of God and has neglected so great salvation is sufficient reason why such a union should not be consummated. Now, she says, most cases our young people will come and say, look, pastor, or look, elder or mother, the only thing that is missing from this woman or from this young man, it's only the Sabbath. He goes to church, he believes in the Trinity, he does all that you can think of. It's just that he's not an Adventist yet. And according to what I've observed from him, he loves the Lord and I love him. Now, they will try to justify the character of someone to a point where it will seem as if the fact that he's not keeping the Sabbath, it's a minor thing. It doesn't matter that much. And in most cases, they will even say, who knows, maybe this is the only way to evangelize that person so that he or she can become a member of a church. Now, to our young people, I would like to say to them, before the altar, you need to consider that dating is not one of the avenues in the Seventh-day Adventist Church to evangelize. We've got a lot of other things that we follow if we want to evangelize someone. Dating is not one of the, it's not one of such. So if you are going to use dating as a platform to do the evangelism, you will wake up late and it will be too late for you to reconsider your decision. Now, before you say I do to someone, you need to consider if that person shares the same faith. If he or she is not, it doesn't matter how good he is. It doesn't matter how good she can be. The fact that she does not believe from the same doctrines that you believe in or you subscribe to, that's an evidence enough that you need to cut whatever the commitment that you have with that person. Let me also say this, even if he comes to the same church, even if he's a Seventh-day Adventist member, but if he always suggests things that contradicts with certain doctrines, you need to open your eyes. Not everyone who sings or who comes to the Sabbath is a member in good and regular standing. We've got a lot of criminals under the banner or under the name who claims that they say, who always says they are Seventh-day Adventist members, but deep down in their hearts, they know that they've never met God repentant. How are you going to discover that? The moment they start to suggest things that contradicts or things that makes you break the 10 commandments, you need to quit, or you need to call off, or you need to disconnect whatever that you have with those people, especially if you've tried to sit them down to say, look man, we're both Adventists, why are we doing such and such and such? Now, while you're still dating, you need to open your eyes fully, because if you don't do that, if I were to go down with this quotation, Ellen White, okay, thank you, I'm sorry about that. Now, she says most couples, they stand on the altar and they will commit to each other and leave Jesus behind. And she then says, even if they commit themselves to each other, they are not making a good decision if Christ is not part of their relationship. Now, I was saying, even in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, not everyone is a Christian, or not everyone is a member in good and regular standing. Now, the fact that he comes to church, the fact that he is a chorister, the fact that he's an elder, the fact that he's a pastor, the fact that he does everything that you can think of if someone is a member of a church, that is not enough. If there are things that says otherwise about that person, do consider such. We call those indicators. If there's something that you think your partner might be doing which is not in line with Christian behavior or with Christian practice, now those are indicators that you must not ignore, especially if you are still dating. Now, I'm aware that if you are still in a relationship, it seems as if everything matters the most, especially if you are still in a honeymoon phase. You don't care about the wrongs. You only focus on the things that makes you happy with the other person that you are involved with, to a point where you ignore some of the things that are going to be problematic tomorrow. Now, I like to say, if you discover that you don't share similar beliefs, even if he's a member of a Seventh-day Adventist church, if he does not stand on God's promises, you need to reconsider your decision. Two, when Samson was already married to this woman, you know the story. According to the culture of the Philistines, you will get married today. You won't go home with your partner. You will leave your partner for a certain month. That was a culture that was practiced at that time. Now, the fact that Samson committed himself into a certain cultural practices, he ended up losing his wife. We know the story. Now, the reason we always say, don't commit yourself to someone who's not a Christian, who's not a member of your church, who does not practice the same beliefs with you. It's because after marriage, impilo becomes real. That is where abantu, they will reveal izinto akade bekwazi ukuyifihla while we're still dating. Now, at the end of the day, it's not because uNkulunkulu ufuna ukusiphuca izinto that matters the most. It's because he concerns about the future of our homes. I would also like to read another quotation, especially to those who are already members of the church, who keeps going in and out of different relationships inside the church. As one of the things that I will say to our young people, they must consider, because that practice is also an indicator that there's something wrong with that person or with the character of that member. Now, she talks about trifling with hearts. She says it's a crime of no small magnitude in the sight of the Holy God. And yet some will show preference for young ladies and call out their affections and then go their way and forget all about the words they have spoken and their effect. A new face attracts them, and they repeat the same words devoted to another, to get the same attention. Now, if it happens that as a young man in the Seventh-day Adventist church, or a young woman, we are being approached by someone who's been in different relationships, you need to ask yourself, what is it that he or he is going to offer to you, which he did not offer to the previous partner? You need to ask yourself, what was wrong with sister so-and-so? What was wrong with brother so-and-so? Why are you doing so? It's not because you want to become a detective or whatsoever about someone else's character, but into oyibona kumuntu, into engiyona in an open space speaks louder about the character yami behind closed doors. Because if I keep on changing girls, that simply means I'm struggling when it comes to commitment. Now, why then will you assume easily, ukuthi, I'm going to be able to do so uma sesishadile with you? Because what I am before marriage, it's what I will be even after marriage. I want to clear something out here. Most people, they always make a mistake to think that I will be able to change my partner after the altar. So it doesn't matter what he does before the altar. I want to make a declaration here. What your partner is before the altar, many chances he or she will be worse after the altar. If he or she cheats before the altar and you keep on forgiving him or her, if he doesn't come to church on regular, or if he comes to church around about 11 o'clock just for divine service only, believe me, some other times when you are married with the person, there are many chances for him or her to become worse than what he was while you were still dating. Now you will to ask yourself some serious questions. Is this what you want? Are you going to be able to cope with this behavior? If the answer is no, reconsider before I'm going to be able to change this person. It might be too late the time you realize that he or she is no longer changing. Now, you need to ask yourself, why abakubo behlulekile ukumshintsha, and you think when you'll be able to change that person uma senishadile. Now, uSamsoni, he deep down in his heart, I think he made an assumption that if I take this lady and ngimshada, so too will move to Israel and we're going to worship the same God, of which he did not even bring the woman at home. It ended there. He did not even introduce the woman with family yake after the marriage. The marriage ended before they even moved together. Why so? Because he took someone who did not share the same beliefs. Now, we mustn't be deceived by feelings. It's so nice to sit in a front seat with someone. It's so nice to drive places with someone doing this and that. But the question remains, is that person a right choice for you? If there are a lot of indicators that he or she is not, don't ignore that. Consider that as a red flag to say, disconnect, quit, hlukana naye, uphinde ukwazi ukubuyela emuva kwi-drawing board and pray for a right partner. Umshado does not create a good partner, but umshado shapes someone to become a better version yalento akade eyiyona before the altar. Now, I would also like to say, you need to check if your partner is trustworthy. If she's not or he's not, don't you ever make a mistake to think that after the altar they will become trustworthy to you. Trust, yes, trust is earned, but also umuntu kufanele ukwazi ukumthemba with your life, because umshado akuyona into that will only affect you now, but it can also affect your eternal life. If you say I do to someone else now, you are simply saying this person is going to play a huge role in my spiritual life. He'll be there to assist me to be a better Christian each and every day. Now, someone that you are going to share your space with, banento enkulu that they can do to contribute in your spiritual life. Because if you are now living together, you need to pray together at 7 o'clock. He or she also needs to have a space where she will be or he will be with his God. Okay, this is a question that I often ask. What makes you think umuntu who always fights kuma church board is not going to fight with you at home? Someone who always argue enkonzweni, who doesn't see anything good from anyone else, someone who always looks for loopholes in everything. Why do you think that person can be a better partner? Now, there are things that you need to consider. Sometimes you need to be selfish when it comes to relationships. It's not always about compromising. Sometimes it's about asking yourself a question: what is it that I'm going to gain from this relationship? If he's going to remove you from God, quit from that relationship. Don't take that chance, because baningi abantu ababulawe abantu ababecabanga ukuthi bayabathanda, but now basemathuneni. Now baningi abantu again who are going to die spiritually, not because they were not good when it comes to ekubeni ngamaKrestu. It's just that they ended up committing themselves kubantu abarong. Now it's better to be single for the rest of your life and be saved when Christ comes than to be married to someone and lose your eternal life. So we need to set our priorities. Our priorities it's not about relationship status, but it's about the fact that if Christ comes, will I be able to join the church? I know in most cases it's always about our feelings, it's always about how do I feel about the other person, but we need to be honest with ourselves. What matters the most, as we can see now, there's corona, and the scientists are saying there are still more diseases as of figure. To us as Christians, we are aware these are indicators, these are signs of Jesus. If zonke lezi zenzeka, we need to switch off our feelings, not reason with feelings, but and open up our spiritual mind, so that we can be able to tell if someone is going to help me to become a better Christian, or uzokwazi ukuthi lo muntu agcine engisusile kuJesu. I want to make an emphasis, especially today, because this is my last day, to say lahlekelwa umhlaba ukuze ukwazi ukuthola umhlaba wasezulwini ongcono. If your partner or the person that you are dating, you can see ukuthi akakusindayo when it comes to spiritual issues, it's better to end that relationship than ukugcina ufe emhlabeni uphinde ufu Jesu umebuye. I always say umuntu ongakazi umbone enkonzweni ecula, awukazi umbone ekhetha ingoma, noma kubiza ikwaya akafuni, noma kugeza izitsha ngelunch akayigezi, uyafika aphinde ahambe anyamalale. What makes you think ukuthi lo muntu uzokwazi ukuba uyini uhusband ongcono kuwena or unkosikazi ongcono? Khona abantu enkonzweni who are always angry. If someone is always angry during divine service, during divine hours, now why would you think that person will be a better spouse behind closed doors? So you need to check the character of the person that you think you want to settle down with, so that egcineni ungalahlekelwa umbuso kaNkulunkulu ngenxa yama feelings esikhashana. We know bazalwane ukuthi yes, sonke siyafuna ukushada, sonke siyafuna ukuba nabantwana, sonke siyafuna ukuthi kube khona umuntu that you are going to share a bed with, but also you need to ask yourself a question ethi, ingabe lo muntu oshare naye umbhede umfune ngoba ufuna ukuphinda ushare naye ithuna for impilo yakho yonke, ungavuki makubuya uJesu kodwa ushe ungaphili ingunaphakade. If kukuthi i-answer ithi uma ngisibheka lesi sigebengu engihlezi naso ngesingisi ezulwini and awukashadi naso, reconsider. That's my plea. Akukabikho late. Kulaba sebeshadile, I would like to say, unfortunately, you must keep your mistake. If you realize ukuthi your partner, she or he is not what you think he will be, there's no other way. Just stick with your mistake and pray for the second coming of Jesus Christ to be sooner, so that at least and Bible is clear. Ithi uJesu la esifika khona masifika ezulwini akushadwa ngale. The reason I decided to say keep your mistake, that's what I always say to couples, that before you say I do, whatever that you will realize after, it's your mistake and you must learn to live with your mistake. Never ever quit after the altar. But if you realize, well, this is a mistake, this is not what I wanted, stay with your mistake. Stay with your mistake and wait for two things, either the grave or the second coming of Jesus Christ. Unfortunately, as a church, we don't encourage divorce. So if you decide to take that route, you must know that you are fighting with God. So if you realize after the altar that you made some mistake there and there, stay with your mistake. I'm saying this not referring to people that were married to their mistakes. I'm saying whatever that you discover. There are things that I've discovered to my wife, and there are things that she also discovered about me, which she's not happy about. Unfortunately, we need to live with it. We need to keep those mistakes as part of our lives. If you can't help your partner to become a better version, unfortunately, you must stay with them as they are, because the Bible is clear. uJesu uyayizonda i-divorce. Nina ningakashadi, you still have a chance to check your partner to make sure. For example, if your partner engamani adilika ibhasi lihamba just because ukhohlwa ifoni nawe, that's an indicator yokuthi you cannot trust that person. Umuntu olala nefoni phansi komqamelo, umuntu onama-password ongawazi ashintshwa, you can't trust that person. Don't you dare and think that he will change after sewushadile naye. What he is now, he will be worse uma senishadile. That is why you need to help your partner now. If you think you can change your partner, allow him to change now. After the altar, there are slim chances for him or her to change. Inkosi inibusise. Amen.